What's going on, Infected? It's Wolf of the Quarantine, and this is a little bit different video. That's why you have a nice, sweet view of this mug here. So I'm going to be taking a look at the Caddy card holders. Now, these were sent to me to review, and I'm going to just kind of talk about them just a little bit and tell you what I think about them. So, the Caddy, they're out of this really hard molded plastic. I was sent two of these, a red one and a blue one, and then I was sent this big one here to be able to take a look at and give my opinion on. So these ones here run about $6. The purple part only runs about $7, and then the gray and the black part is $6 as well. So in order to get this entire thing, you're looking at, math is hard, what, $13? Something like that. So with these. Now these unfortunately barely fit. I am showing here my Jinteki deck from Android Netrunner because I have self-respect and I play Jinteki. But as you can see here, it does not fit sleeved cards. We'll take just a couple. It does not fit them at all. It starts bending the top. It doesn't quite fit sleeved cards. Maybe if the sleeves were a little bit smaller, but these are Fantasy Flight sleeves and it does not fit them. However, when we look at, let's say, Gloom, right here, this is, to put this in perspective, this is the Sci-Fi Gloom, I think is what it's called. I don't remember exactly what it is, but this is the Sci-Fi Gloom, and unfortunately, it does not fit all of the cards. You see here, it's missing a good chunk of them that to be able to put in here, and that's all this is. I haven't mixed it with any other Gloom. This is just the Sci-Fi Gloom, because let's face it, the stupid cardboard box that Gloom comes in is garbage. So, now that that's out of the way, these, the way they put back together is they have these little lips up here at the top, right here and here, and you slide this into it, which can sometimes be a hassle to get that lined up, because you have to get these two lined up and this lined up with these two. So you'll have to sit here and line them up, and it's not super hard. You hear a very audible click, which is good, and these feel secure. If you toss this in your backpack and you have, a smaller deck of cards of something or another, I don't know, Noir or something, if you just have the deck to be able to play, I don't know, a small two-player game, this is going to be pretty crush resistant. Of course, it's still, if you push hard enough in the right areas, it's going to bend, it's going to flex, and it's going to crush whatever's in here. But just know, it is good and solid construction. So it's also, to get it apart, you have to wiggle it a little bit, and it slides apart. So I'm not going to say that it won't pull apart, but it's going to be unlikely. It's a little difficult to even just pull apart to begin with, let alone it falling apart. So if you're wanting to, I don't know, cards to sell or whatever, these you can do much worse than these. So now let's take a look at this. So we'll take a look at this first, just because it's what I pulled off first. This holds a good number of dice. I'm wanting to say it's like 14 dice, 13 dice that I have in here. Just random. I have a D8, I have a couple D10s, a couple Fate dice, a bunch of D6, just random. So I just dumped a bunch of dice in here. And there's good amount of room for me to stick my fingers in here, pull out some dice. I don't have to do any wiggle or anything. I can reach in, grab some dice. So these are pretty cool. And then this score tracker. Now, I actually have a problem with this score tracker right here. So it's got two little pegs on this back, which at first seemed pretty cool, but getting them out of there, unless you have really long nails or a pen, it's going to be difficult. You have to pop a pen in there, you can slide one of them out, then you can pop out the other one and then use them in here however you see fit, to track whatever. So that's kind of a drag. That means you have to make sure you have a pen. So if you're going camping or anything like that, these are pretty cool, because again, you toss them in your backpack and they'll be good. So if I'm not mistaken, this should fit something like Star Realms, because this one, let me try to get this open. This one's a little bit more difficult to open. You have to do the wiggle maneuver. And this one here does, in fact, where did I put it? This one does, in fact, fit. I'll just take a sleeved card here. Fit a sleeved card, perfect. There's even a little bit of wiggle room in there. So this one here, if you're looking for sleeved cards, This one right here is the way to go. So this one should fit a deck of Star Realms. My Star Realms is over there, so I probably should have grabbed it for this video, but whatever. Another thing this has is this really interesting weighted poker chip. So I'm not really sure what the design choice behind this is. It seems kind of pointless. There's not even like a heads or tails on it, so you couldn't use this as, you know, flip a coin, so he goes first. There's 2 of them as well, so the first player marker option's kind of out there, so I'm not really sure what the point, other than the fact that they're neat, that there's a poker chip here for, so whatever. Now, one really cool thing that all of these can do. So this can hold a card, as I showed there, but my favorite thing about these is, of course, you can have it there as your deck, and you can draw out of it from the side or whatever, or you can do what I like to do, and you can put them sideways like this, to where that way it's, you know, you draw off of this, so this holds your deck. So if you're going to be on a wobbly surface, or my personal favorite, you're playing with newly sleeved cards that are incredibly slick because they haven't, the air is still in them, they're still a little puffy, they haven't gotten the micro scratches that kind of get them a little bit more coarse, so they don't slide around so often. Super annoying, somebody bumps the table, cards go sliding across the place. So this keeps them in their place, they stop moving, which is pretty cool. You can do that with the discard pile, whole 9 yards. So, final thoughts, what do I think? Well, like I mentioned, this one's $7. This here, this and the dice holder is like $6. I don't really feel that these ones here are worth the money at all. Of course, all of this is subjective and your mileage may vary, but in my opinion, $7 for this just seems like a bit much. So there's that. Like, a pen and paper is much cheaper. But, you know, maybe you'd want everything to click together or whatever. Now, this is $5. But I couldn't really find a whole lot I could fit in here other than just like a standard deck of playing cards. And I guess if you have a really nice deck of playing cards or a sentimental deck of playing cards, these ones are pretty cool. But what I like to use them for is because where I get prototype copies of games to review, I like to, you know, as you see here, this is from Trogdor. The backs of these cards are white. All of the cards are white. And of course they're prototypes, so I expect it, and it's fine. And that doesn't bother me at all. But what I do like is the fact that I can put this deck of cards right here, and I know that the Trog deck is blue. So that way, while test playing and everything, it's a lot easier for me to differentiate what type of cards are what, and so that makes that a lot easier. But of course, if you're not reviewing games or anything like that, it's not a whole, not very a very big deal. That's the word I was looking for. So these right here, I'm not really feeling it unless you have just a really small deck of cards you want to put in here. And $6. Now, this big purple one, $7. Now, this one is a little bit more versatile. So as you see here, I've actually went ahead and got my copy of Star Realms put in here. So it doesn't quite fit all of Star Realms in this, which is kind of a bummer. So their measurements, their sizes, I find confusing because I'm looking around. Of course, there's a lot of games you can fit in this. Like, I could fit probably Gloom, and then the maybe another couple expansions to one of the Gloom sets in here to be able to fit. But there's not a lot of games that I can see that's really going to fit in here very easily. This is $7. So again, if you play maybe with unsleeved cards because you're uncultured swine or something, then sure. But I'm finding it difficult to find things that would fit in here to justify $7. And the reason I say that is because this is $10. This is from Fantasy Flight, and this fits 2 Android Netrunner decks. This has my runner in it, and I actually had pulled my corp out of it as well. Both of them fit in here, no problem. So as you see here, both decks fit in here, no problem. So if I want to play a game of Netrunner, I literally just grab this. It has my tokens down at the bottom that this deck uses. It has both decks in it. It's got this cool shield here to show me, hey, this is Netrunner. So this is $10 versus this is $7. And this has a harder time fitting some of the things that I would put it in. So that leads me to another one. You also have these deck boxes that everybody's familiar with. You have your Ultra Pro deck boxes. This is what I use for Star Realms, and this is what I use for, what is it, Noir Vendains, the promotional Noir game. Now, one of these small ones would probably maybe fit a game in Noir. I'm not really sure. I could probably find out. Actually, I can't because my game of Noir is sleeved, and these don't accept sleeved cards, which is a problem. Now, of course, this will easily fit it, no problem. But these here are a couple bucks. So it really boils down to, what do you need this for? So these are pretty crush resistant, whereas these are not. These are pretty flimsy. They're cheaply made, but they do the job. If you're looking for something that's crush resistant, this is going to be your best bet, of course, if it's going to fit in here. Because I've given examples of what will and will not fit, so you can kind of use that to guesstimate what you're buying them for. So overall, the quality is great, and it sounds like I'm probably crapping all over these. And I don't want to sound like I'm not, because I actually really like these. I like these quite a bit. I like them for what I use them for, because I'm going to use them for review and prototype copies of games that are hard to distinguish what cards are what. This is going to cut that down so much. For the average Joe that doesn't review games or just plays games, I don't know, I'm having a hard time recommending these because their price point versus lots of cheaper options. The only other thing I can think of is maybe if you don't sleeve your games and, I don't know, you're weird and just throw cards into the box, this will keep them separated and stop them from being crushed or damaged by minis or stuff like that, stabbing them. That's really the only thing I could recommend these for over the alternatives. Again, if you have a lot of cards, something like this, or something like this one here, or even the other one that I have over there somewhere that is almost 2 of these, that holds like almost an entire deck builder and stuff like that. So those are going to be a lot cheaper than these. Anyways, I hope you guys enjoyed this video, and I'll see you guys next time in the quarantine.